Good Sunday evening, everyone. It is finally March, and in this evening's video, we're going to be going over all of the latest and greatest for the upcoming weather pattern, as well as a more in-depth discussion of some individual events I think will be highly impactful. There's a specific time frame I'm watching that I'm increasingly concerned about for a large portion of the country, so we'll go over that as well. We're going to get into it right now. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We're very close to reaching 450 subscribers, so if you appreciate the content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And also leave a comment down below where you are watching from in the country. I would greatly appreciate it. Even if you're outside the country, I'd love to know where you guys are watching from. So to start off here right now, this is what we got going on. I kind of have changed some map settings so we can see the states a bit better here. But I'm not sure about the intensity of some of this frozen precipitation, but this is the last hour right here of our radar across the U.S. And you can see in areas of Missouri and even Kansas right now, we do have some frozen precipitation falling. And this purple right here, that would be considered sleet. We have snow falling in the blue and then freezing rain falling in the red. I expect this rather to intensify over the next couple of hours. We'll have to watch that. And we'll go over this system here in just a minute. So this is what's going on right now. Otherwise, the country is pretty quiet except for some rain out areas further to the west. So watches, warnings, and advisories wise, very quiet day as well, except for this little stripe of winter-related warnings here. All of these purple you see are winter weather advisories that kind of stretch from the Central Plains all the way back through West Virginia here. And then there's special weather statements up for likely just slippery road conditions and poor visibility, things like that. So other than that, nothing too crazy. We do have a lot of severe weather stuff to talk about. I think that's going to be a predominant uh, topic of discussion here. This is our day one outlook. This is for today. As of right now, this is what we've got going on in areas just south of the OKC metro, and I'm not quite sure if this is going to happen. Our radar is clear, but it's possible, definitely possible that we get some storms to fire off in there and produce some large hails. That's now day two, tomorrow. No specific severe threats are outlined. Anywhere you see in this kind of light green, that is just areas where thunder could occur. Day three, this is for, I believe, Tuesday. Yeah, this would be Tuesday. We do have this level 1 out of 5 marginal risk in areas of Kansas and Oklahoma, even some counties in Missouri, so I have to watch that. This might uptrend. It's difficult to tell right now, but this is what we got right now. There's no way to tell exactly what type of severe weather this would be producing if it happens, but we'll have more information on this by tomorrow. So I want to switch this over here. This is our day 4 outlook. This is the one we've been kind of talking about for some time here. So this is our slight risk for day 4. It extends all the way down into central Texas now. It's kind of extended down and dropped down to the south a little bit, where the majority of our instability will remain. We do have several counties in Arkansas that are under the gun for this, and a good chunk of Oklahoma. So we'll have to watch this. This is a big topic of discussion right now. A lot of curiosity out there about as of what's going to happen with this, so we're going to have to watch it closely. But as of right now, this is all we know. So moving past that, I do also want to mention, I just forgot to, but there are other days. I believe day 6 also does have a risk area, but that's just further out there. So let's just focus closer. And speaking closer, we got something really close to us right now. This is that winter storm. So we're going to go over that right now. This is what the HRRR model is about to say. I'm going to show it to you here. So this is what it says is going on right about now. It's somewhat accurate, pretty close, right? But we take this out in the next few hours. Areas you see blue and even purple right here on this map is very, very heavy snow. This corridor of orange you see, that would be sleet. And then you see pink back here, that is freezing rain. So let's just get a bigger picture here about where this goes. We're getting into the overnight hours, about midnight tonight. Areas of heavy snow and sleet mixing in make their way into Illinois and Indiana. I think this is a pretty solid look here. I don't think there's anything especially wrong with this. There is sleet and freezing rain falling to the south. I have to watch that for icing concerns here. Rain even further south. Just normal rain, that is. A bigger corridor of freezing rain develops between southern areas of Illinois over towards Cincinnati and kind of spreads out. And this is getting into tomorrow morning and even towards lunchtime. We have heavy snow in areas of West Virginia, Virginia, and Ohio here. And as we move throughout the day, this is getting into tomorrow in the afternoon or so, about 4 p.m. Central Time or Eastern Time. And we have heavy snow in areas of Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland here. And so it kind of stalls, if you will, just kind of sits there. Some sleet might develop, and then the HRRR only goes out to Tuesday afternoon. So there will be another push of moisture that makes its way up into the northeast that we'll have to watch. The HRRR model doesn't go out that far yet. But hey, look what it's doing. It's picking up on more snow back here on in the higher elevations out west, right at the end of the run. Something to watch there. But let's show you the NAM model. The reason, guys, that I show you more than one model, the reason I don't just show you one and leave, is because I want you guys to be able to develop your own opinion with this. That's important to me, and I don't like it when someone shows you one model and then leaves and says that is definitively what's going to happen. I don't think that's the way to do it. So I'm going to show you a few. This is the second one. This is the NAM 3K here. It can tend to be a little bit colder than it actually is. So I have to watch that bias. But as we make our way through the next couple hours, some snow develops in Illinois, Indiana here, sporadic freezing rain. Then it kind of beefs up a little bit. This is about 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Central. Tomorrow, a decent corridor of freezing rain falling here in, between Indiana and Illinois down to the Ohio River. Area of reasonably heavy snow along the I-70 corridor in Indiana and Ohio, so I have to watch that. And then as it's making its way throughout the morning tomorrow, areas of West Virginia start to get in on this. Virginia starts to get on this. Maryland, even the Washington, D.C. area get in on this. And this is getting into tomorrow afternoon. So after that, getting into tomorrow towards midnight, we do have freezing rain developing. And we have more frames with this model. So where does it go? A large area of freezing rain develops. I do want to watch this. This is kind of that transition zone because up here further to the north, more cold air is residing. But down here, the conditions could be right for more icing to occur. So we'll look at those totals here soon. But that transitions to more snow as we make our way through Tuesday throughout the day. This is about 4 p.m. Eastern time or so. And in areas of New York, Vermont here, even New Hampshire down to Massachusetts, area of heavy snow even develops, gets up into Maine, could last several hours and drop a reasonable amount of snow. And then look right at the end of the run here in areas in Nebraska, we have more snow developing. So this is at the end of that run, just wild weather, guys. So let's show you the next one. This is the last one I'm going to show you. This is the RRFSA model. And just a heads up that this is likely to replace the NAM model at some point this year, the one I just showed you. So just a heads up for that. But here's what we got. This is starting off now. It's not initializing very well. I have to point that out, but it's okay. It does develop more sleet. You can see in this orange here in areas of northern, kind of northern and north central areas of Missouri here. But we move this on in time. This is getting towards midnight or so. And then the RRFSA does more with sleet. It's possible you get a lot of sleet in this area. It's very hard for the models to tell which one is which. Snow and sleet to models are very similar. But an area of heavier snow, this is getting to tomorrow morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And we do have an area of heavy snow developing in southern Indiana here into areas of Ohio. Translates over, kind of lose some of that sleet and freezing rain. And it makes its way into Virginia, West Virginia as we get into tomorrow afternoon. This is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or so tomorrow. And then we make our way towards the evening. It kind of dies off. Now then, where does it go up to the north? Or does it? Well, that freezing rain does not look nearly as impressive. It does get snow up into the kind of southern New England areas. This is getting into Tuesday afternoon. But it doesn't do nearly as much with that kind of broader area of snow. So something to watch, and then it gets a little bit more choppy. There's even another push of moisture that brings freezing rain further to the north. So all that being said, a lot to watch. So let's show you some totals here. This is the national blend of models for your total ice accumulation across the region. This is not a final forecast. But I would think this has a pretty good idea, but this event is so close to us, and it's even ongoing now. So starting in areas further to the west, between the Central Plains and kind of getting into the Midwest here, there's a corridor in areas of Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska here, where a little bit more could fall. We're not talking like anything crazy, but enough to kind of get the roads maybe slick just a little bit. If you guys experience more than a couple tenths of an inch of freezing rain, that's when issues can start to arise. The more notable corridor of freezing rain to me is between kind of the Beckley areas, the southern central areas of West Virginia, even down the southern Appalachian Mountains. We're not talking crazy totals, but maybe a tenth or 2/10 of an inch in some of these areas. That's enough to start causing issues, especially where infrastructure is weak. And you can see the signal as it just kind of makes its way up to the north. So it's something we have to watch closely. And the National Blend of Models, it also gives snow to some areas. Not anything crazy though. a few hundredths to maybe even a couple tenths, up close to an inch in areas of Missouri. Our other models don't agree with this necessarily, but there's a few corridors here in the kind of Midwest that get over an inch, and then between Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland here, a little bit more falls. Still nothing crazy though. It really does beef up areas of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, and Massachusetts, kind of just the Northeast. So it does beef you guys up a bit more. So something to watch there. But our AI guidance, this is interesting to me that it has uptrended this much. Areas of Missouri, northern and central Missouri, on the European AI ensemble here. Pretty reliable thing to look at. This dark blue color you see here is 4 to 5 inches. So that's an interesting ensemble run there. But you can see the overall signal, the overall pattern of it, it does not drop as much up in the areas of the Northeast. So something to consider there, but there's your footprint off of the European AI ensemble. The GFS model, I didn't show you the operational run, but it kind of agrees, starts off with some snow. I must say, because it's very important, that these models do struggle with sleet. So some of this total accumulations you see here could fall as sleet. So just something to consider. Areas of New England here, northern New England, could get over half a foot based on the GFS model. I don't necessarily buy that, but it's something to watch. The European model kind of came back a bit. I didn't show you that either, just as we get a little bit past that global model guidance time frame here. But it does show between Missouri and Illinois here, there's something, 2 inches, 2.5 inches maybe between Missouri and Illinois here, so something to watch. And it does beef up the Northeast a bit more between kind of New York and up into Maine. So there's corridors here of it. The European AI, just the operational, not the ensemble here. It has this corridor snow. I think this is pretty believable. On average, an inch to 2 inches, maybe across the heaviest of this. And then up into the Northeast, I think there might be a little bit more than this up in the Northeast in some areas, maybe. So operational model guidance wise, when it comes to our shorter range stuff, like the HRRR, this is what it dropped. So I think this is possible where you do have corridors where the snow kind of trains and goes over the same areas multiple times to get many inches of snow, several inches, not many inches, but it does show northern Missouri here as kind of a hot spot. Something to watch there. I think you guys could overachieve a little bit between kind of the Kansas-Nebraska line all the way over to central Illinois. There kind of could be a hot spot area there, but it does have a notable signal all the way through Ohio. And then you can see as it breaks containment east of the Appalachian Mountains, there is some notable snow here as well. Washington, D.C. picks up 2 to 3 inches based off of this. And now, again, we don't have enough frames here to really show you the Northeast, so that's why nothing shows up there. But let's see, I'll show you some other model guidance here. This is the NAM 3K. This is what it showed for the whole thing. So there's the corridor again. The kind of it pushes a little bit further east with the heaviest of this, but it does show areas of Missouri and Illinois here get the most of it. And then there is an area in the Northeast, especially the highest elevated regions, that could get the most with this, and there could be several inches to be had based on that. And then I'll show you the RRFSA model. It's in pretty good agreement as well between kind of Kansas-Nebraska line down through Missouri. Again, I think central Missouri, central northern Missouri could be a hotspot area for the most snow. I don't think you guys are going to get 8.3 inches. I don't buy that scenario. But there are areas that could overachieve and get a few inches, several inches maybe. And then as we get into West Virginia here, Virginia, more snow falls as it kind of stalls in this area and pushes off into the Northeast a little bit. The RRFSA does not do a whole lot with this. So something to watch for sure. Now I'm going to show you, if we can, the total ice. Yes, so this is what the NAM 3K dropped for total ice. This does concern me a little bit. Along and north of the Ohio River, there's a corridor here, and then there are sporadic areas here getting up into the Northeast that could get more impactful and even damaging amounts of ice. So something to watch. If I get more concerned about this, I will show you your local graphics. Nothing is standing out at me right now. But to move on and move into our kind of a longer range, broader picture discussion here, here's the European model starting off tomorrow morning. And this is just going to show us areas along and east of the Rockies here. We're not going to focus areas further to the west, but this is starting off, tomorrow morning. So there's this system, kind of rolls in, rolls out. So this is getting into the fourth. Right here is an area of storms that develops, so we have to watch those for possible severe weather. Pretty much, guys, any day after the 3rd and 4th, any day from now, to be completely honest with you, has some sort of potential to have severe weather for the next couple of weeks. And that's just how the way it's going to be. Honestly, we get to the 6th, the 7th, and there's some sort of storm system here. I do want to watch the 7th and the 8th as a time frame here. This run rather doesn't show anything crazy, but there are signs that there could be something in this time frame for kind of the southern and central plains. We get into the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th. Now, this run of the Euro does not do what we have been seeing, and I'll show you it on the GFS because I think it shows it reasonably well. Uh, Something between the 10th and the 12th, something happens. Some big storm system looks like it rolls through the central areas of the country and up into the north areas just of Canada. And like this right here is just a huge severe weather, could even be an outbreak. But there are some that show a snowstorm as well as the severe outbreak. So I'll show you one of those. Just a ridiculous area of storms here, rolling areas to the east. So this is getting into the morning of March the 12th. So this is out there, guys. 270 hours. Don't get overly caught up in this. It does develop snow on the back side of it. Now I do want you guys to see here. I don't know if you can. These dotted blue lines that kind of dip down like this. Those are our kind of atmospheric thickness lines. Think about these. The reason they turn from red right here to blue right here is because they indicate the freezing line aloft. So areas along and north of these typically see frozen precipitation. So it's just something to keep in mind. But you see how far south they are? In areas of even like the Gulf Coast states. So there could be a pretty potent shot of cooler air that comes in behind this. We'll look at temperatures here over the next couple of minutes. But I mean, this is getting out there. It develops snow in some areas that you wouldn't necessarily see at this time of year. And the last frame looks like this. It looks colder. Towards the end of this run, something seems to change and it looks cooler. So what about the GFS model? This is starting off right about tomorrow morning. There's that system rolls in, rolls out. So it's done. Everyone's tired of talking about it. This is the afternoon of the 4th. There's some activity down here. We'll have to watch this for severe weather. And then again, pretty much any day from now, between now and the next 10 to 12 days, we have potential to see severe weather. Pretty much any given day. And so here's what we're talking about. This is getting into the morning of the 7th. Some activity gets going, especially into the afternoon of the 7th, into the overnight hours. Towards the 8th, we have something going on down here in the deep south. And it sticks around. And now, 10th, 11th, 12th. This is what I'm talking about, guys, where you have this ridiculous, huge area of low pressure. You got snow, maybe even a blizzard to the north. You got severe weather down here to the south. I don't think that the GFS is off its rockers at all. I think our other model guidance has shown this, and I don't think it's crazy. I think the pattern does support this, and I think we have to watch for this kind of thing closely. I don't buy the specifics. I don't buy necessarily that southern areas of Minnesota are where the blizzard happens. I'm not saying that, but just an idea. And that's a huge system. It rolls in and rolls out. Now, I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. The GFS has two of these. Between them, on the 13th, the 12th and 13th, we have some sort of freezing rain event for even North Carolina. So something to watch. Something cools off here. We get snow developing in Oklahoma and Texas 288 hours from now. I don't buy that. If you see that posted on social media, be hesitant to just bite that. But right at the end of the run here, we get something developing again. It just looks colder. We get past the kind of right along the middle of the month, the 15th through the 17th, something seems to happen here. We cool off. So you start to see more snow into the picture. Areas further north, I'm not talking about a Gulf Coast blizzard or anything crazy like that. But it does seem to cool off a bit. So let's see here. I'm going to show you why I think we have severe weather threats pretty much any given day. This is starting off tomorrow morning. And what you're looking at here is 500 millibars. This is like 3 or 4 miles up in the sky. And areas you see like in red right here, that is like a jet streak. That's just stronger winds aloft. So for severe weather, if you didn't know, you need wind energy like this. You see it reads it out, 94 knots. So very fast up near interstate speeds there. And you need moisture. We'll go over the moisture here in a second. So this is starting off tomorrow morning. And I'm going to reload this here. Starting off tomorrow morning here and moving onward. For the 3rd, where we have our severe weather threat, there's some sort of area of higher wind aloft that comes into areas of the Central Plains where we have that threat. So something to watch there. And then we get into the 4th. The afternoon of the 4th here, and we have a low pressure, kind of a cutoff low, if you will, and there's a jet streak to the south of it. This could absolutely get severe weather going. I am wondering A lot of people are as well, because our severe weather threat is like down here. If that wind is going to be displaced too far to the north, I'm wondering that myself. But something to consider. And then that rolls in, another one rolls in right after. This is the 6th in the afternoon. And now something interesting happens. Our ensemble guidance agrees with this. Between the 7th and the 9th or so, this bowling ball low, this kind of cutoff low, drops down to the Baja regions of California. Now, the reason that it does not just go like this and come in and then leave is because it drops down like this, and then you get a ridge spike over here. Not in that exact location, just the general idea. So it kind of blocks it from moving areas further to the east. It kind of freezes it in place, if you will. So it sits there for a couple of days, getting night and getting into the 10th, it starts to move finally. So this is the 11th or so. We got a very complex upper pattern here, where we've got this jet aloft up here. You have this big load pressure down here to the south. And do they phase? Do you get some sort of big high amplitude trough that rolls through this area? This is the time frame, by the way, where we're watching that low pressure forming with just huge implications on all sides. So our upper air pattern looks very busy in that time frame. That's the word I would use. 10 days out. We got a while to go, guys, before this is really a real thing. But at the same time, a lot of consistency with that. And that rolls in and rolls out. We have this huge trough over the east. This could cool us off. And then let's just take it out to the end of the run here. Something about this looks cooler to me because you can follow these barbs. See how they're coming from up here and they're kind of dropping to the south. I mean, it's very common knowledge. Up to the north, it's colder. That's just how it works. So if these wind barbs really do lead areas up further into the Arctic, it could be kind of opening the door for cooler air to enter the lower 48. I'm not about to tell you that we're about to have an Arctic outbreak in the middle of March. I'm not saying that. I think it's possible that we do. I'm not saying that that's a definitive yes or no, not yet. But I think it's possible. So what about moisture? This is starting off tomorrow morning here. And so let's see. Let's get out to one of our time frames here. So for the 3rd, where we have our severe threat, yeah. And what you're looking at here is dew point. So if you have these blues over your area, it's quite warm. It's quite moist and warm. I tried to say both words at the same time there. You have a low pressure right here, and you got to have it drawing this Gulf air up from the north, or from the south to the north. So something to watch, something to consider, right? And then moving past that, let's get to the 4th or so. And so this is what we got, kind of a complex surface pattern here. We have some sort of low pressure in this area, yanking north of that moisture. So the pattern at the surface looks somewhat supportive, not to get overly detailed there. But again, you see how this moisture just sticks around? This is getting into the 6th. We got another like tongue of moisture here. This looks a bit more organized maybe. And I mean, this is getting into the overnight of the 6th into the 7th. And what do we got? We got this kind of complex. We got 60s dew points here, all the way up to the Great Lakes. Now, that's not normal this time of year by any means. So something to consider. And so you can see that there's a very tight gradient here. You got 60s dew points here and like 30s and 40s dew points there. So some sort of frontal boundary is draped in this area, and it's pushing all of these higher dew points out. However, they recover. They come right back. So getting to the 9th, the 10th, the 11th. And so this is the surface pattern. Remember that the Euro didn't really show it. It was kind of more complicated. But we have some sort of low pressure. On this run, it's up here. Other runs, it's down here. So our model guidance varies a lot, but I can tell one thing is we have some air mass change spilling down from areas to the north and a lot of moisture to the south. That tells me snow, severe storms, and your low pressure's in the middle. That's what that tells me. Just to give you some sort of very broad general idea. And after that storm system seems very potent and very strong. So it just beats those dew points out. They already are starting to recover areas further west, but this could be a cool off for a ton of areas of the country if this happens. This is like 2 weeks away. Please don't take this as final. And at the end of the run, we're recovering once again. This is the 16th. We have a low pressure forming, yanking these dew points up to and along and north of the Red River. So a lot of busy weather. Pretty much any given day between now and the next 2 weeks, we could see something active. That's the reality of this. So to show you some other model guidance, we use AI models like this, the European AI and GFS AI. I like to use them for pattern recognition, as AI is typically pretty good at that. So let's give it a shot here. This is the European AI. Shows that system. Nothing crazy with it. It shows it. This is the afternoon of the 4th into the 5th. We have this area of moisture, so our AI guidance supports this first threat. And then what about afterwards? This is the morning and afternoon of the 7th. I'm telling you guys, our AI guidance has locked on to some area of moisture down here in the southern and central plains and into the mid and even deep south. Something on our AI guidance is locked in with that part of it. But it sticks around. It kind of intensifies as it drops south as we go overnight on the 7th and into the 8th. There's a resurgence of moisture here. I mean, on the 9th and 10th, we have something else. Now, does our AI guidance show this massive system? This is the morning of Wednesday the 11th, and yes, indeed, it does. We have some sort of low pressure, sub 1,000 millibar low right there. Snow up here. This would be severe storms down here, and just overall a big rain bomb. So, to kind of disseminate this pattern a little bit, you see this bold blue line that kind of drops down like this. That's our freezing line aloft, right? So if you've got colder air spilling down like this, right? And you've got moisture down here in areas to the deep south. Well, in the middle, you'd expect something to happen. And in a pattern like this, with everything lined up the way it is on this run, it does. It goes boom. And you have some sort of high impact, mini state, multi-day threat for something major to happen. But at that same time, not a forecast. 240 hours out is about as far away from a forecast as I can get. So this is the last frame of the model. How about the GFS AI here? Starting off right now, it shows that system moves in, moves out. Very light with it though, doesn't show a lot. And this is the afternoon of the 4th, shows that moisture, right? Locked in. And then we get into the 7th or so. There it is, once again. Overnight on the 6th into the 7th. Timing is a little different, but there is something there on every run of these AI models. I'm not going to try to preload these. Because something is wrong with them. This website, as good as it is, sometimes can have issues. But here we go. Let's just get out to the end here. So the GFS AI kind of is similar to the operational Euro we looked at, where it has the storm system and it has the moisture, but they're kind of split apart. The dots don't connect the same way. It's possible that happens, but I will say that this is the morning of the 11th, and that time frame goes to the 12th, guys. See this sub 1,000 millibar low down here? It's about to eject off to the north. I could almost guarantee it, somewhere like this. And if it does, and there's cold air residing up here, it would get some sort of snowstorm going. So our AI model guidance also supports this. Just going to say it. So deep breath, and now we're going to discuss our pattern a little bit. So if you clicked on this timestamp, we're going to be going over a few different things here. We're going to be going over our overall pattern, which you're going to see here, our temperatures, and our moisture. So this is the European Ensemble, very reliable thing. 51 members make this up, and it averages it all out for us to be about as reliable as it can possibly be. And what you're looking at here is in areas of blue like this, that is a trough of lower pressure that brings cooler air. That's just a cold air source. Areas in red that you see down in here, those are ridges. Those are areas of warmer air. So you see an area of blue like this, that's some sort of storm system. This is starting off tomorrow morning. Let's see here. Get it in motion. So you see this little area. I'm just going to leave our drawing tool up here. You see this little area, this little kink in these black lines? That's associated with our March 3rd and 4th severe threat. So that rolls in. Now something happens. The evening of the 6th, or evening of the 5th into the 6th, we have a low pressure form down here off the Baja California region. So the operational European showed this, where that big bowling ball low sat there and just spun around for like 3 days. Well, it shows it. And this pattern right here, what this tells me is that we have our flow is kind of riding up. I did not draw that well. It's kind of riding up like this very quickly, I might add. So what this is supporting is little short waves, little troughs that kind of ride through here. It's supporting that, and it's supporting the yanking north of this moisture. So again, every day, it seems, could have some sort of severe threat. We move this on. Now, the trough up north in areas of Canada and this trough down here to the south do eventually connect, getting to the 10th, the 11th. And then something happens. This is when our time frame that we were watching, you have this expansive trough of lower pressure and colder air. You got ridges on either side of it kind of holding it in place. And you would watch anywhere inside that, that's your cold air source. So let's kind of discuss this a little bit. If you have cold air in this region right here, right, and you got moisture down here, then I would almost ask you, what do you expect to happen, right? This time of year, we're transitioning from kind of winter to spring, even it almost feels like summer in some areas. It felt like it at my house. Somewhere in the middle here, something goes on, whether it's severe weather, winter weather, or both. And a lot of our model guidance is indicating both. So definitely a big storm to watch. That rolls in. That trough kind of sticks around. Let's just take it out to the end here. What this pattern right here, what this supports to me, is that we have some sort of bowled out trough up here, just low pressure, colder air, and you see how it kind of knocks down these reds, almost kind of turns them pale, even to the central areas of the country. And you see if you follow these black lines, they kind of drop down from way up north. I mean, the North Pole is right there. So they drop down from way up north, and that could support some sort of spilling down of Arctic air. So let's look at our temperatures here. Let's start off tomorrow morning, and you can see in areas of red, that's above average for this time of year. You can look up, just put it in Google what your city is and type in, Greenville, South Carolina, like where I live, average daytime high temperature. It'll tell you, right? Anyway, moving past that, if you see blue, that's below average. So here we go here. Getting into the third, fourth, you'll see a lot of red, especially in the really everywhere in the country here. Just really very warm, and this will support our severe threat, absolutely. But we get to the 8th, 9th, 10th. Now stuff's changing a bit. You have some sort of boundary here. It's kind of everywhere along and then east of this boundary is hot, and you see something going on up here. There's cooler air starting to enter the picture. What does that mean? Well, it spills down. This is the morning and afternoon of the 11th when this storm system could be ongoing, and you have an active spilling down of all this moisture, bordering warmer than average temperatures and a lot of moisture. So if we have a low pressure form in this area and shoot off to the north, then the only thing I would expect to happen is that you have a little bit of everything start to unfold. Freezing rain, snow, severe weather, tornado outbreak, I don't know, but there's a little bit of everything that's possible here. And that cooler air makes its way all the way to the eastern seaboard in some form or fashion. Even if that means that your temperatures are near normal, it does affect you everywhere. And then the end of the run is this frame here. And it's exactly what we were talking about. All of this blue up here to the north is just cooler air that is spilling down from the Arctic, and it gets it down even to the central plains. So this is not a freezing line. This is not an activity line where up here is snow and down here is storms. No, it's not that. It's just the overall kind of the border here between cooler and warmer than average. And I do want to watch. There's been discussion of this about the kind of mid and then later month of March being very active for some sort of sudden stratospheric warming events where the polar vortex essentially gets split in half way up north, kind of over the North Pole. And what that can do is it can have major implications at the surface. It can throw down some well below average temperatures all the way down in here into the lower 48. I think that's what this is. So if that happens, I'm not going to pretend, guys, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about that. I really don't. But if that happens, I do know enough about it to tell you that we could be looking at some sort of crazy pattern flip as we get to the middle and later part of the month. So to kind of sum all that up, between now and then, here's our activity map. That's the way I like to call it. Anyway, so what you're looking at here is total precipitation. Whether this falls as snow or rain or freezing rain, or it doesn't matter. The European ensemble picks up on everything on this, and that's what you're looking at. So this right here, this kind of kidney bean shape of the highest totals here, that's where the majority of our moisture will fall. What this tells me right here, without looking at anything else, is that we have low pressures that form, right? Right there, they kind of come off the higher terrain, and then they shoot off to the north, kind of over this ridge that we're going to have. So down to the south of it here, we have a lot of moisture develop. And whether this, I honestly think like in these areas right here, this is going to almost all be rain. So do you have flooding potential? Absolutely, you have flooding potential. It's possible. But just, I want you guys to really look at this and just keep it in mind as an overall storyteller for our pattern, right? If you live under these areas of purple, what I want you to gain is that you could just be seeing a lot of activity of some kind over the next couple of weeks. That's what this really shows more than anything else. But all that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Tomorrow morning, or this evening. Tomorrow morning, I'll have you guys your daily forecast up. So tune into that if you're interested. And tomorrow evening's video, I'll be going over all of the stuff we just went over, but updated and refined to give you the best. So tune into that. Otherwise, no real news for you guys. Just stay tuned for updates, and I will see you guys in the next one.